Welcome to the Skeleton War indeed, recruit. Now grab yourself a weapon and get out into that arena, and try not to worry about the overwhelming stench of rotten cabbage. You get used to it. Oh, who am I? I'm Margrave Vulgrin, Lord of the House of Chuckles. Haven't heard about it? Pfft, obviously you're a scrub, aren't you? But we could talk about that later. Now get out there and fight.
Away with you, vile beggar!
Good, you show potential. All you need to do now is pledge your allegiance to the house, of course, and you'll make a prime initiate into the NECROLORD Covenant. But is this covenant actually for you? Well, that's what we're going to find out in this video. The Necro Boys then. Oh, I've been looking forward to this one. The very idea of doing these Covenant videos came into my head because of how much fun I had leveling through Maldraxxus. A great zone, and overall an awesome leveling experience, even if that quest where you had to help the scuffed ethereal break into the magic library made me wish I was back in the house of login queues again, a faction I've got exalted reputation with at this stage. So I am very much prepared to tell you everything you need to know about the Necrolords, and where better a place to begin than with the supreme skelly boy himself, the Primus, aka the 4986 AQ 5D Karazanian Chess Grand Champion. Now this dude is supposed to be the ultimate military genius and warsmith of the Shadowlands. You'll know by now that each of the 4 primary realms of death is focused around fulfilling a specific role, and that each of these roles is embodied most strongly by the primogenitor, the firstborn of each of these realms. The Archon, for example, is the foremost of the Kyrian Ascended, the Winter Queen is the supreme furry waifu, and the Primus is the greatest general in a realm designed to produce warriors. Yes, Maldraxxus' role in the grand scheme of the Shadowlands is to be its sword and shield, to fight off any invaders seeking to take control of the realms of death. And honestly, it seems like they do kind of a shit job of it at the moment. But that's supposed to be because the Primus, the main man of Maldraxxus, has been missing for a long time. Bummer, right? What happened? Well, my theory is that he saw my Transmog video and realised how much his face looked like a shit warlock headpiece, and he ran away crying to go change his mog. Understandable, to be honest. In any event, the absence of the Primus has caused Maldraxxus to go off the rails a bit. You see, the way this plane of warlords worked was that there were 5 houses, each set up to master one form of warfare, such as the House of Chubby Chasers, focused around constructing gigantic behemoths to fight on the battlefield, and the House of Corona, who are arguably a bit too effective. This big-brained system worked really well at first, ensuring that the Necrolords could field a diverse, if smelly, force in any conflict. But it's the sort of system that worked best when harnessed by the unbiased leadership of Optimus Primus. Sorry, I'll show myself out. You see, each of these houses was ruled over by a powerful leader called a margrave, and these margraves were nominally equals, meaning that they had to work together even though they had very different approaches to warfare. Without the Primus to lead them, it was only a matter of time before these houses started to fight for supremacy. So big lad Crexus, Margrave of the House of Swolecunts, was adamant that the houses should continue to follow the will of the Primus even in his absence, and work together to protect the Shadowlands. His house was all about personal honour and fortitude among warriors, and so this made a lot of sense to him. However, not everyone took the same view, and some of the Margraves didn't give a shit about helping anyone other than themselves. So when the Primus hadn't logged in for a few weeks, and it came time for Margrave Garmol, the great goblin of the House of Constructs, to review the sacred Necrolord contract, he instead chose to take it and wipe his fat fucking arse with it instead. And this is pretty much where you start off when you're chucked head first into Maldraxxus and told to prove yourself by smashing anything that comes at you. Crexus outs Margrave Arseface and Kel'Thuzad's Wet Dream as traitors, but by that point they've already set their plans in motion, and you spend the next few levels sorting everyone's shit out, finding out who betrayed Crexus to his death, spoilers, and quickly making a name for yourself as a cheeky wee skelly with whom not to fuck. That is, if, like me, you're sensible and you play an undead. The best part of all of this is that Maldraxxus does a really good job of feeling new and unique as a zone, whilst also being hosed all over in that sticky, classic Scourge theme that you should really know and love if you're into Warcraft. All through the ensuing battles, the Primus keeps popping up in your head, reminding you of how annoyed he is at the bonkers state of things, kinda like a zombie Jesus figure, to be honest, which is weird, but he's cool, so it's all good. And this is where we find ourselves, balls deep in the skeleton war, unravelling the mysteries of the Primus' disappearance, and trying to forge all of these houses back together into that defensive weapon they were meant to be. And that's where I come in, of course, as Lord of the House of Chuckles. And you know, it's not easy being the leader of a resistance movement, but we're fighting for the right cause, and that's what matters. Recently, my Swedish friend Timmy fell in battle after he ate several kilos of plague-infested meatballs. We tried to get him to IKEA to revive him, but, well, you can't save everyone. But what about the Transmog options for the Necrolords? That's what really counts, right? I mean, even I, Margrave of the House of Chuckles, don't want my enemies to laugh to death when they see my Mog. They can do that when they see my DPS instead. Right, so the cloth set, let's start with that. Now, I think that bits of this could be used well with other sets, a common theme when it comes to the Necrolord armour, I might add. But I'd never use this as a complete Transmog set myself. I can't stand cloth sets which don't have robes. And just look at those sandals. Really? Now for the plate set. I think it's really good. The theme is very similar to that of Crexus, and Blizzard actually got it right this time by having it that the horns on the helmet are in reasonable positions, so it's not a trademark Blizzard dickhead helmet. Very good. Okay, now for the mail set. Honestly, this one was the first one that caught my eye when looking at the Necromogs. There's something about the asymmetry of these shoulders, coupled with the ragged cloth elements of the waist and the skull mask, that works really well here. You look like what I would picture an undead orc raider to appear as if they were in Maldraxxus. The only issue here for me is that I wish this was a plate set. I think it would do a fantastic job of bridging that gap between the theme of the heavily armoured knight aesthetic and the wild marauder theme, which both appeal to me. Personally, I would love to see more plate armour sets which look a bit lighter in style. Finally! Oh, I can't wait to talk about this. Now this is something special. This is a set designed to make an undead rogue tickle his Nurgle's scrot, if you know what I'm saying. To be honest, I don't know what I'm saying there, but let's just go with it. Getting to look like a stitched up zombie who is permanently part of the Dead Hand gang? Oh, it's classic. Finally, I think it's important that we address a critical issue, something that has bothered me for a long time, something that has plagued my mind throughout coming up with this video. It's a valid concern, which has prevented many players from becoming true Necro Chads. Are there any Necro Waifus? Now, when I covered the Kyrian Covenant, a major draw was that giant blue angel chick theme, and I know you degenerates need a reasonable substitute if you're going to join the Necrolords. But fear not, because these guys have you covered. You've got options, my friend. You've got Orc Milfs, Lady Vag. Hell, who needs the Winter Queen when you've got a quirky, permanently naked Plasmoid Queen chilling out in the Necro goo? Options, boys. Think about it. And there we have it. The NECROLORD Covenant. I thought when I first heard of them that these guys would just be a total meme faction for edgy teenagers. And that's true, but at the same time, Maldraxxus is fucking awesome. I can totally see why my boy Timmy loves it so much. Well guys, we're done for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to subscribe to the channel and check out my Patreon if you're interested in supporting me that way. I appreciate all the help. New Covenant and class videos are on the way. Hope you're enjoying the festive season. Be good guys, I'll see you later.